Here we go. Here we go. So, welcome everyone to Real Take Football Talk. It's Sunday. You know what that means. Football is back again. We have another great slate of games scheduled for today, and it is going to be one hell of a day. I'm Umar as always. Be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. With that, let's take a look at some of these games because we got a bunch of great games on the schedule for today. Of course, the Steelers are going to be hosting the Oakland Raiders. You also have the San Francisco 49ers flying all the way out to the East Coast to face the Philadelphia Eagles and Jalen Hurts. We're going to talk about that game. The Houston Texans going to be taking on the Cleveland Browns. Houston won last week. Cleveland lost in a nail-biter to the Kansas City Chiefs. That's going to be a big game. Denver, of course, is going to be going out to Jacksonville to face Trevor Lawrence, the first overall pick from this year's draft, who had a very up and down, inconsistent game, came back a little bit at the end. However, the question is, can he get it done when it matters, and can he get his first win? Last week was his first loss. We'll talk about that more. And then an interesting game where the Saints are missing, I believe, like 4 or 5 of their coaches. Not Sean Payton, but a lot of their assistant coaches are out because of COVID. So we're going to see how that affects them as they take on the Panthers and Sam Darnold. The Rams and Matthew Stafford and that high-powered offense going to be taking on the Colts and Carson Wentz. You also have the New England Patriots facing Zach Wilson and the New York Jets in a matchup between two first-round quarterbacks from this year. The Bills taking on the Miami Dolphins. Bengals, Bears, Falcons, Bucks, 28-3. And then you also have the Vikings taking on the Cardinals. We'll see if Kyler Murray can keep his magic going. The Titans taking on the Seahawks. Cowboys at the 4 p.m. slot taking on the Chargers. And the nightcap for this week, the nightcap for this NFL Sunday Week 2 edition, my Baltimore Ravens hosting the Kansas City Chiefs. We'll talk about that and see if the Ravens actually have a chance to beat the Chiefs. A lot of people would say no. I, of course, am a diehard Ravens fan. You're going to have to fight me. You're going to have to fucking fight me for me to say that they don't have a chance. But we'll see. We'll talk about that. And in the meantime, guys, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new, brand spanking new video is released. So as I mentioned, the New England Patriots are going to be hosting the New York Jets. This is going to be a matchup between Mac Jones and Zach Wilson, battle of first-round picks from this year's draft, first-round quarterbacks from this year's draft. We'll see what's going to happen here. Of course, Mac Jones and the Patriots lost last week in a very close game to a divisional rival in Miami. I believe it was 17-16. Mac Jones played very well, but we'll see if he can keep that magic going against this New York Jets team that was very inconsistent last week. They got behind, I believe, 19-0, and then they came back a little bit at the end to score 14 points a little bit in that fourth quarter. Zach Wilson started off the game pretty bad. That offensive line started off the game really fucking bad, but they were able to rally in the end. You can say that might be a little more garbage time. They were dominated for most of the game, and you'd be right if you said that. But this is a game that I had circled because it's a big test for both teams. It's a big test for these rookie quarterbacks who, again, are going to be compared to each other for their entire careers, no matter who ends up being a bust or if both of them end up being Hall of Famers. These two are going to be compared to each other every step of the way. And the truth is that if we're looking at it from the perspective of who has the best team around him, who is in the best situation to succeed, as I just realized I have Miami instead of the Jets. But if we're looking at who's in the best situation of these two rookie quarterbacks to succeed, you have to look no further than the offensive line. The offensive line of the New England Patriots will always give them the upper edge over any team. And this offensive line is not like last year's. This offensive line is built to last. This offensive line is built to protect their rookie quarterback, whoever's playing quarterback over there. Unlike the Jets the Jets O-line, unfortunately, couldn't protect Sam Darnold for anything. He was rushed on more than half of his snaps. The dude he was seeing ghosts out there. It was really bad for Zach Wilson. I keep saying Sam Darnold, but his name is Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson didn't have any time to throw the ball. It was really tough for him and the Jets offense to get anything going. He was sacked, I believe, 4 or 5 times in that game. He was pressured on most of his throws. It was not a pretty game for Zach Wilson. And my big worry is it looks like it's coming to fruition. I always said the biggest thing that's going to hinder Zach Wilson, the biggest thing that's going to hurt Zach Wilson in this upcoming NFL season could be the fact that this line is not good. It is not built to last, and it is not built to have him or set him up for success. And when you have a young rookie quarterback who's trying to learn, who's trying to get settled, who's trying to win games and be this franchise-changing level player for you, you need to set him up with some sort of protection. And I'm not saying, oh, you need to give him all-star receivers and blah, blah, blah. No. Well, that would be nice. I'm not going to lie to you. If Zach Wilson had Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry to throw the ball to, it'd make his life a whole lot easier like Sam Darnold has it. But that's not even what I'm saying. You have to give him time to throw the football, time to get acclimated to the NFL game, time to learn how fast the game is in a more controlled setting, in a more protected setting for him. Because if not, he's going to end up like Sam Darnold in 2 years. Because I think Zach Wilson has potential. I think he has a lot of potential. My biggest problem is I think he went to the worst team, and I think he went to a situation where he was expected to be a franchise-changing level player right off the bat. He's a very similar type of guy, I think, to Danny Dimes up there in New York. He can be very good, or he can be good, and at his ceiling, and in his brightest moments, he can be very good. But I don't think the consistency is going to be there, and that's not a knock on him. That is a knock on this New York Jets football team. This defense, whose best defensive player, by the way, is a guy in C.J. Mosley who basically hasn't played in 2 years. So there's a lot to look at with this New York Jets team. There's a lot to find out, and there's not much to like, if I'm being honest with you. They have some decent receivers, but they have no protection for this quarterback. New England and Bill Belichick are amazing. Their record, I think, is like 20 or something, and 1 against rookie quarterbacks. It is a bad record if you're a New York Jets fan, and I think it's going to be a slobber knocker for the for this game. Actually, not as much as you would think. I do think there are I think Mac Jones is still going to be learning a little bit about getting acclimated to the game and everything. But I got the New England Patriots winning this one 27-14. I think the 14 points are likely going to come later in the game. You'll see something happen, I think, in garbage time for the New York Jets. And look, it'll be I think there'll be spots where Zach Wilson looks good. There'll be spots where he doesn't look like, a bust. And again, it's his second game. I shouldn't be using the B word, bust. But I think he is one of these quarterbacks that I was always afraid of from the beginning, or afraid from the beginning would be in a bad situation, would be in a place where he is just not meant to succeed. And that is the worry with this guy. That is the worry with, honestly, any rookie quarterback coming in, that you want to be able to protect them. And I just do not think the New York Jets football team has done a good job of doing that. I don't think the management has done a good job of doing that. And I think it is not going to yield the results that many people in New York want. Many Jets fans have been craving for the past few years. I think it's going to do quite the opposite. I think it's going to lead him down a path where he's not going to be prepared Sunday through Sunday. And we've seen it. Confidence gets shot very easily in this league. So the best way to avoid that, if he's not going to be in a good situation to start, wait it out. We've seen it happen before. I think Aaron Rodgers is a good case for this. Pat Mahomes is the most recent best case for this. We're seeing what the San Francisco 49ers are doing with Jimmy G and Trey Lance out there. There's no rush. And there shouldn't be a rush, honestly, in New York to start him. This is a new regime coming in that you have a little patience. The first year, everyone knows you're going to be terrible. don't put your rookie in the line of fire right off the bat. Give him some time to get reps. Let whoever the backup is, I forgot who the backup quarterback is over there in New York, but let him take the dive. Let him take the falls. Let him take the hits. Pay him. He should take the hits too, by the way. But New England is going to be winning this game 27-14. I just don't think the Jets have enough. I don't think they have enough protection for Sam Darnold. That's why I'm going with this game. And if you guys are going with us, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. Got daily videos on a bunch of different topics, including football, wrestling, and the like. So be sure to check those out. Let's move on and talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are going to be taking on the Oakland Raiders, hosting the Oakland Raiders. Both teams are headed into week 2, 1-0. The Steelers came back against the Buffalo Bills, and we saw that whatever that game was, I still have CTE from that game. I'm still very confused. Don't know who I am, where I am from that game. It is against Baltimore. The Raiders won in overtime, of course, and then won again. But yeah, that was the game. So you could say the Raiders at this point are like 2-0 or 2-1 because they almost gave it. I don't know. But both teams are looking to win their second game of this season. And this is an interesting game because had you asked me last Sunday who I think would win this game, I 100% would say that the Pittsburgh Steelers are winning. But after seeing the performance by the Raiders, after kind of taking in what they've been over the last few years, the Raiders are a team that get off the hot starts under John Gruden. Very hot starts. Look at I think it was like 2018 or 2019. They started off 7-5. 2019 started off 7-5, started off 6-4, I believe, in 2020, something like that. And like they get off to really good starts and then fall apart completely in the last like 4 or 5 games of the season. And I think it's a pattern that has kind of defined this team. That's why that week 1 win for the Ravens I'm not too concerned about because the Raiders in week 1 are a lot different than they are like week 14, week 15. So I have the Raiders winning this game 20-13, a very close game. It's going to be decided by a fourth quarter touchdown pass by Derek Carr, and I think that the Raiders are going to squeak this one out, and it's going to put a lot of people on edge in Pittsburgh. It's going to pull, and I think Big Ben is going to get a little exposed by that pass rush. That Raiders pass rush is very good. We're going to see if that Steelers defensive or offensive line can protect him. Excuse me. Cincy, what's up in the chat, by the way? Good to see you, my brother. But we're going to see if he can be protected because that's the biggest question. Can Big Ben be protected against a more serious pass rush? And we saw early on in that game, he looked a little, against the Bills, he looked a little rattled. It looked like he wasn't comfortable. And I think the Raiders, after what they did to Lamar Jackson last week, they're going to try to continue that same formula here. So I got the Raiders winning this one 20-13. Again, close game for most of it. Low-scoring game for most of it. But I do think that Derek Carr is going to be the deciding factor at the end of the game. 20-13. 20-13. Las Vegas. I called them Oakland again, didn't I? I'm always going to keep calling them Oakland because they are always going to be the Oakland Raiders to me. I don't care if that ages me. I don't care what. But that is what it is. Anyway, guys, if you haven't already, please hit that like button, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. All right. So, yeah, next game, let's talk about those Bengals since you're here. Since you've graced us with your presence, let's talk about those Cincinnati Bengals, and let's see what they're gonna do today. Because Cincinnati is gonna be taking on the Chicago Bears in what is probably the most evenly matched game of this NFL season so far. So let's talk about that as I pull up my little banner because people like to read what I'm talking about when I'm talking about it, don't they? I don't know. I like to have that there. Anyway, Bengals and Bears are going to be taking on, of course, Cincinnati's looking to get their first one, their They're not looking to get their first win of the season. That graphic is messed up. They are looking to get their second win of the season. They're looking to advance to 2-0. While Chicago will start Andy Dalton. Again, they are looking to get their first win. I think that's what that graphic was trying to say. Oh, well, Andy Dalton's revenge game. He finally gets his hand on his former team. It is going to be a raucous environment in Chicago as you have 60,000 plus in Chicago, Illinois, booing. Yes, booing the Red Rifle, demanding his head on a pike, and demanding that Justin Fields gets into the game for more than like 2 gadget snaps per game. So in this game, I have Cincinnati winning this 24-17. I'm gonna give the Red Rifle, the Red Rocket, whatever you want to call him, Andy Dalton, a little bit of a pass here. I think he's gonna play a good game. I don't think it's going to be nearly enough, though, to beat the Bengals, who are hungry. They had that win over the Vikings last week at a last-second field goal in overtime. They are getting better. Joe Burrow proved that he can be elite in this league. Jamar Chase finally proved that he can catch the ball in this league. So those are good things to take away if you're a Bengals fan. And if you're a fan of the Bears, again, you're just asking yourself, why not? Why are you not putting in Justin Fields? Because as fine as Andy Dalton is, Andy Dalton's a good player. Andy Dalton is a good quarterback who can come in, win you games, who can come in, play the position, not make mistakes. But he's not going to overcome a lot of the other failures that this team has. Justin Fields is a guy who can get out of the pocket, extend plays. I think he can provide that spark and that energy that this team is really missing. So if I'm the Bears, it's a no-brainer to me. I don't think that offensive line is nearly as bad as people say it is. It's not good, but I don't think Justin Fields is in any more danger of getting injured, if that's the question. I think I don't know what it is, whether it's Matt Nagy wanting to hold him back. Maybe it's a playbook. I don't know, but I doubt it. I really doubt it's the fact that, he doesn't know the playbook. I think, that there's things like he's a guy you can put out there. Like I'm sorry, there's a difference between Justin Fields and a Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson is a guy who I think is better suited to learn early on and then get the experience, a little later than other people. Justin Fields is someone who I think can learn on the fly because of his ability to extend plays, because of his ability to throw the football, because of his ability to read defenses. I just think I think it's a no-brainer. You start him. This team has a great defense. Rely or lean on that running game with Justin Fields, and you will win football games. You'll be more competitive than you were last Sunday night. But Bengals winning this one 24-17. I think Cincinnati's going to start off this year 2-0, and not a lot of people are talking about Cincinnati. Not a lot of people are talking about Cincinnati. This is a team that I said they are going to be in that AFC North. They are going to be very competitive. That AFC North and that NFC West are two of the probably most competitive divisions in the entire league. So we're going to see what happens there. Moving on, let's talk about the Broncos and the Jaguars. Of course, Denver is looking to improve to 2-0 under Teddy the Bridge Water. He obviously is leading this team. He had a very good game last week in that win. And the Jacksonville Jaguars, even in defeat, Trevor Lawrence passed for over 300 yards in his rookie debut, 3 touchdowns, also 3 interceptions. 3 interceptions were early on, but he came back arguably in garbage time, but I think he showed a lot of poise. And just like Zach Wilson, I want to say, showed a lot of poise on a very shitty football team. So when you're on a shitty football team and you show poise, I think that's worth something, but I think this one's kind of a no-brainer here. Jacksonville just doesn't have the talent. They just don't have the firepower. Lawrence is enough to keep it decently close. I got Denver here, 28-18. You be my guest to guess how they get to 18 points. But that was a gut feeling I got when I woke up this morning. I got Trevor Lawrence getting 18 points for the Jags today, but Denver just they're going to get 28. Teddy's going to pass for 2 touchdowns. He's going to have a complete 70% of his passes, be a very efficient, very good quarterback, which is exactly what Teddy Bridgewater is. And it's exactly what this Broncos team might need. Are they going to be able to beat the Chiefs like this? I don't know. But We'll see about that. Again though, they are very lucky that they're facing Jacksonville in week 2 because Jacksonville is just it's not a good football team. It is just not a good football team. It is not a talented football team. They have some playmakers that they don't decide to use, like James Robinson, uh, Trevor Lawrence. They had him throw the ball 58 times. What does that tell you about this team? That the direction that Urban Meyer throwing the ball 58 times with your rookie first overall pick. In his first game, that's not it, Chief. Not it. You got to get the running back involved. You have a great running back, a guy who in Robinson, who as an undrafted rookie free agent last year had over 1,000 yards rushing, who was a very good pass catcher last year. I don't get why you don't give him the rock. Take the pressure off of Lawrence, run the damn ball, and you might have a chance in this game. So, but again, Urban Meyer has more coaching experience than me. In the NFL, though, that experience just seems to be bad, as those reports that people are not fond of Meyer. They're not fond of Urban and the way he goes about doing things up there and or down there in Duval. Let's move on. Talk about the Buffalo Bills who are going to be taking on the Miami Dolphins in an interdivisional matchup, which is going to be good fun. Miami, of course, had that win over New England last week. Buffalo fell to Pittsburgh last week, so both these teams have a lot to play for. This is, of course, an AFC East matchup, and both these teams, very good teams last year. 12-4 were the Bills. 10-6 were the Miami Dolphins under Tua Tagovailoa and Brian Flores. Also, big shout out to Fitzy, who's now in DC, but. These are two very good teams. Two very good teams. You could argue these are the two best teams. Actually, I think you couldn't argue. It's pretty much solid. These are the two best teams in the AFC East. The Patriots are always going to be lingering there because of Bill Belichick, but on paper, talent-wise, these are the two best rosters in the entire division, bar none. Bills that have the slight edge, but this is a young Dolphins team. They didn't make the playoffs as 10-6. They were 10-6 in a 7-team playoff. In a 17 where 7 teams make the playoffs in the AFC. They went 10-6 and they didn't make the playoffs. This team has a ginormous chip on their shoulder. Do not underestimate the chip on their shoulder they have. They closed the game last week. They were able to win in crunch time. Tua's still got a little bit to prove, I think, as far as not his ability to read quarterbacks or whatever, but I think his ability to be as consistent as people expected him to be. The Buffalo Bills, they lost to Pittsburgh in a game that they were winning for most of it, and then they just gave it away, or Pittsburgh took it away. Either way, the Bills, they did not look good in that fourth quarter. They allowed too many points. They allowed them to drive down the field, and you can't allow that against the Miami Dolphins because this is a team that's well coached. It's a quarterback that, again, has a chip on his shoulder. People are talking about how he stinks, how he's trash, how he's never going to be an elite quarterback. So he's got, obviously, a big chip on his shoulder. He's looking to prove people wrong. And I think he's going to have a valiant effort. I still think the Bills are going to have that sour taste from Pittsburgh in their mouth. I don't think they enjoyed that loss. I don't think they enjoyed the way they played. That's why I have the Buffalo Bills winning this one 38-24 over Miami. And this is in Miami too. It was weird when I was doing my predictions. It just seemed like a lot of the 1 p.m. games I had the away teams winning, and then actually all of the 1 p.m. games I think I have the away teams winning, and then the 4 p.m. games, it's like all the home teams. And it was all the home teams, actually, the entire step of the way. So, yeah, we'll see what happens with that. I think I'm going to be totally fucking wrong about everything this week. But, hey, good thing I'm not a gambling man. Anyway, let's move on and talk about another one of these 1 p.m. games. A 1 p.m. game that involves a West Coast team going out to play an East Coast team, which is 3 hours ahead of what they're usually scheduled. That is the San Francisco 49ers, who are flying out to play the Philadelphia Eagles in Philly. So that's always going to be a tough matchup for any team on the West Coast, flying out to the East Coast, trying to make that adjustment. You're essentially playing football at 10 a.m. You're waking up, rolling out of bed, and be like, oh, shit, I got to go play now. Not like, oh, I got to go play, like, in like 3-4 hours, get some breakfast, calm the nerves. No, I got to go play fucking now. Like, it is brutal when you got to make that flight, or sorry, make that trip over. It can be pretty freaking brutal, but that's the breaks. That is pro football. That is sports. So San Francisco's going to be flying out. They're going to be facing an Eagles team that just demolished the the Atlanta Falcons last week. Jimmy G last week passed for over 300 yards and a touchdown in that win over the Detroit Lions in a game where that San Francisco defense allowed Detroit to hang around, and that's going to be a big crutch for this team, I think, as the season progresses. Again, Jalen Hurts had a very good game, 3 touchdown passes, over 250 yards, and he showed his mobility. He extended plays, and he was the guy that I think a lot of people in Philly wanted him to be. He showed that he is the guy, or at least in week 1, he showed that he can be the guy who's the franchise. He can be the guy you can build the team around. The only question is, I think that it's left. Can he do it consistently week in, week out? And that is what we're going to find out, and this is going to be a good test for him. It's a much better defense than in Atlanta, much different defense. He's going to have the home crowd behind him. Jimmy G, likewise, he's a guy who will not make mistakes. He will not make mistakes. He might get injured, but Jimmy G will not make mistakes. That Eagles defense is going to need him to make some in order to win this game. But I got San Francisco winning this one 28-24, and that is with them flying out to the West Coast or East Coast. I think that Jimmy G, again, he's one of the most underrated quarterbacks there is in this league, and I think he gets a bad rap because of his injury history. When he's healthy, the sky is the limit, and I don't mean that to I don't mean to be over exaggerating. The sky is the limit for this team when Jimmy G is healthy, because he puts the ball exactly where it needs to be. He doesn't make the big mistakes. He won't always make the biggest play with his arm, but he can make plays. Like, we forget, Jimmy G 2 years ago led this team to a Super Bowl. Yes, they had a great running game. Yes, they had a great defense. They also had Jimmy G, who was playing pretty great at the quarterback position, but look for them to rely on a guy like Eli Mitchell in a running game. Hopefully, fancy fingers crossed. But look for them to rely on him. He had the bulk of the carries. Raheem Mostert is out for the season now. By the way, if you're one of these douchebags who threaten Raheem Mostert's life, because he got injured, screw you. Stop that. Look yourself in the mirror. Get off Twitter. Don't do that shit. It's childish. It's extremely childish. Don't do that. Because people can't. They were calling for people to die because of a football thing. Like, that is. Don't be a dick. Don't be a dick. That's all I'll say. Don't be a dick. Don't put that stuff. Don't send negative energy to players when they're injured. That's such a crappy thing to do. But yeah, San Francisco winning this game 28-24. Philadelphia can take advantage of it with a Jimmy G turnover. I say one Jimmy G turnover could be the difference in this game. That is how much I feel about Jimmy G's play and how much it is worth in this game. Let's keep it all going and talk about the Los Angeles Rams of Inglewood, right? The stadium's in Inglewood, right? I believe it is. But the Los Angeles Rams of Inglewood are taking on the Indianapolis Colts of Indianapolis, because their stadium is actually in the city. But that's all I have to say about that. Anyway, but Los Angeles, of course, coming off that huge, massive win over Chicago, and Indianapolis, they're coming off of a loss last week to Seattle, so they're trying to regroup after that. They're trying to get things back on track, and they're going to look to do it against one of the most high-powered offenses I have ever seen from a week 1 standpoint. This was a really great performance. Cannot understate it. Matt Stafford on the Rams is exactly who we thought he was. And the only question is, can he do it against a decent Colts defense that does have some problems in that secondary? And that pass rush is taking a little bit of a step back, but can he keep it consistent? Can Matt Stafford, Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods, and the like keep it going? That's going to be the big question from this game. And what I'll say is that trying to find this graphic, by the way. I don't know. I think I might just be blind. There it is. That's why I didn't find it. It was hidden. But yeah, Matthew Stafford last week showed us exactly why the Rams traded for him. And if he keeps playing like this, if he plays like this every game of the season, he'll be worth every single draft pick they gave up because this team's probably going to win the Super Bowl. But they got to go through Indianapolis this week, and I think Indianapolis, they're one of the most well-coached teams in the NFL. Frank Reich is the most underrated coach in the NFL, has been for a very long time, gets the most out of his players every single year, whether it's Jacoby Brissett, whether it's Andrew Luck, whether it's whoever playing quarterback, Phillip Rivers, he gets the most out of his players. This team made the playoffs last year. They were one game away from winning their division last year and hosting a playoff game, so let's not... And Carson Wentz is no scrub at the quarterback position. So I think it's going to be a close game, but I do have the LA Rams winning this 31-30. I think it's they got to be that close. This is a game that I think is going to be that close. So we'll see what happens there. But in another game, this is one of the oh, sorry. I forgot. I almost moved on to the 4 p.m. games without mentioning one of the bigger, honestly, one of the more intriguing matchups of Week 2 as in the AFC, and that is the Cleveland Browns, who are hosting the Houston Texans. Houston obviously won last week against the Jacksonville Jaguars with Tyrod Taylor in at quarterback. The story of Tyrod Taylor, if you don't know about it, look it up. This dude has been around to a lot of teams, had his lung punctured last year, lost his starting job, got injured, and gave his starting job in Cleveland away to one Baker Mayfield, who he is playing today. So it's a little bit of a revenge game for him. Tyrod Taylor has played for the Ravens. He's played for the Bills. He completely he is one of the biggest reasons that the Bills ended their almost 15 to 20 year almost 20 year long playoff drought. So Tyrod Taylor's no scrub. He's got the ability. Mark Ingram in the backfield last week showed out. He had a very good showing. So I think Houston is going to scare. They're going to give Cleveland a little bit of a run for their money in this game. Cleveland, of course, they're looking to get their first win of the season after losing a nail-biter in Kansas City. I got Houston losing. See what I did there. Cleveland winning this game 24-17, and I think the Texans are going to play well. They're going to be pretty competitive. This Texans team, I don't know what it is. They kind of reminded me a little bit of that the 2019 Miami Dolphins. A lot of people thought they were shit. They were trading everything away, which Miami did. They were trading a lot of pieces away. They were getting draft picks, blah, blah, blah. Well, Texans aren't getting many draft picks for much of what they're doing because they traded away all their draft picks. But, I mean, they got a little bit of a chip on their shoulder, and these are players like Mark Ingram, like Tyrod Taylor, who are not going to go down like scrubs. They are legitimate players, and Tyrod Taylor, there's a reason he always gets a job because he can come in, start, and win games. He is not he doesn't have the biggest arm in the league. He doesn't have the biggest he's not the fastest guy, although he is pretty freaking fast. But Tyrod Taylor is a guy who's going to come in and win games when your starter gets injured, and he, for my money, might be one of, if not the best backup quarterbacks in the league right now. Right now, he is a starter, and he's 1-0 as a starter, which is a lot more than what is it? 16 teams in the NFL right now can say. 16 quarterbacks in the NFL right now can say. So Tyrod Taylor, he's going to be looking to prove a lot of people wrong. He got his lung punctured last year by the medical staff of the Los Angeles Chargers of San Diego. So he is looking to take people out this season. He is looking to prove something this season. And could the Texans win this game? Absolutely, with Tyrod Taylor. But for right now, I got Cleveland winning 24-17. Moving on to the NFC, like I wanted to earlier. Moving on to the NFC, the Saints in the NFC South are going to be taking on the Carolina Panthers. Both these teams coming off of pretty big wins last week. Jameis Winston came back and in his debut as a starter for New Orleans, passed for 5 touchdowns in Week 1. On the flip side, in Carolina, Sam Darnold defeated his former team in the New York Jets, a team that drafted him, I believe, like 10th overall or what have you. He won. So the Carolina Panthers proved that they can win games, albeit against a very shitty New York Jets team. But Saints were out here balling last week under Jameis and demolishing, absolutely demolishing the Green Bay Packers last year, 38-3. It was not a good game for Aaron Rodgers, obviously, but he's not in this game. So let's talk about the Saints. Saints are dealing with something big, though. Saints are dealing with the fact that they have, 4 or 5 coaches right now that are on the COVID list that are not at this game. And I know as trivial as that might sound to some people, it takes a huge toll on the overall operation of a football team when you have coaches out, and especially 4 coaches at once. It takes a toll. It's going to take a toll, and it's going to show, I think, a little bit, or it might not show to us, but it's going to show to the players. It's going to, because there's going to be no matter how much of a plan you have, there's at some point something's going to be miscommunicated. Something what can go wrong likely will go wrong, but it's going to be a close game. And this is the game that I have on upset alert the most. I think Carolina is a good, hard-fighting football team. Sam Darnold is another guy who has a mega chip on his shoulder. He's out there to prove something. He's out there to prove that he is the answer. He is not only the placeholder, but he is the answer at quarterback for the Carolina Panthers. And he has a big chance to prove it today against the Saints, who many think now are going to be in contention right up there with the Bucs. But don't sleep on Carolina. This is still a good football team. Matt Rule has coached this football team very good. I like the direction Carolina is going in. I think Sam Darnold can be the guy. That's why I'm picking Carolina in the upset over here. Even though they're a home team, I have them in the upset here. 24-23. Jameis has a good game. But he's going to be cooking up one of his world-famous Apple turnovers in the fourth quarter, and I think Carolina and that defense are going to be able to take advantage of that. Also, the coaching thing is a big deal. I think the Saints are going to be hurt by the fact that they only have that they have like 4 or 5 coaches on the COVID list and out for this game. So again, I got the Saints. You're on upset alert. Watch out for this team. Don't sleep on them. Don't look past them. Don't look to week 3. The Carolina Panthers. I don't care who they faced last week in the New York Jets. Sam Darnold is out to prove some people wrong, because he's heard for the past year and a half or 2 years, that he's a bust, that he couldn't be the guy in New York, when in fact he tried to be the guy, and at points he looked like he was the guy, but New York just put him in a shitty situation with Adam Gase and the lack of talent around him. That's the truth. That's the real take. Fight me. Moving on, the Minnesota Vikings and Kirk I am Trash Cousins will take on the Arizona Cardinals in Week 2 matchup that many are looking for Kyler Murray to continue his dominance, and Minnesota, of course, are still looking for their first win of the season. So, interesting game this one's going to be. I got Arizona in this 35-24. I think it's 35-28 rather. Sorry, that's 35-28. One touchdown is going to be the difference. Kirk Cousins, he's going to pass for a few touchdowns, and then his teammates are going to yell at him and call him trash, because he is kind of trash. When the moment counts, Kirk Cousins is trash. He's not an elite quarterback. Kyler Murray is proving every day why he is an elite quarterback. He's got an elite ability to run the ball. He's got a very good ability to he's got a great ability to pass the ball. If he plays like he did last week, every week, no question. Kyler Murray could be the MVP, and the Cardinals are a Super Bowl contender in a very stacked and loaded NFC West. So I got this one: Arizona 35, Minnesota 28. Minnesota's got a lot of soul searching to do this season, guys. They have a lot of soul searching to do. I don't know what's going to happen there. The GM, the coach, are they on the hot seat? No, if they don't make the playoffs. Yeah, they might be. They might be. They really might be. Moving on, let's talk about another NFC South game, and that is the Atlanta Trash Falcons taking on touchdown Tommy Brady's team, the Tommy Brady Buccaneers. So Atlanta is, of course, looking for their first win after getting shellacked in week 1. Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers coming off a big opening night winning over the Dallas Cowboys. They, of course, hung those banners up. They're going to continue playing in Raymond James Stadium down there in Tampa. And do the Falcons have a chance? Absolutely not. Tampa Bay and Tom, 31-17. I wanted to go 28-3 for this game. I really wanted to go 28-3, and part of me really still hopes that happens. I really hope this game ends 28-3, just as the ultimate troll. The ultimate troll over the city of Atlanta would be the football gods having the score of 28-3 to end this game. But 31-17, I think Tom's going to have a very good game. Atlanta's they're going to do what Atlanta does, which is they're going to look good for like 2 drives in the game. Like really good for 2 drives. Like an elite team for 2 drives. And then punts, fumble, punt, interception, fumble, punt. Punt. Yeah. Quote me on that one. Yeah, but I don't think Atlanta has too much of a chance here. I don't think Atlanta has any chance of beating Tom Brady right now, the way this team is built, no matter how good Kyle Pitts is, and I think Kyle Pitts is a very good player. He has taken up that role that Julio Jones kind of left over, but it's not enough. It's not enough. That defense is not good. That offensive line, really not good at protecting Matt Ryan. I don't know why, if after you traded away Julio, and you know you're going to be trash, why didn't you just get rid of Matt Ryan? Start the process over. Get a pick so you can get one of these really good young quarterbacks. There's a lot of them coming out every year. Maybe that's their plan. They want to get a guy like Rattler next year, who I think could be very good for this Atlanta Falcons team. But we'll see what they do. Moving on, the Titans are going to be taking on the Seahawks in a Week 2 matchup where Derrick Henry, coming off a very shitty game last week, only rushing 54 yards. And the Seattle Seahawks trying to go to 2-0 after beating another AFC South team last week. They move on to the Titans this week. Titans are obviously embarrassed after last week's loss. They lost, I believe, like 33-13, something along those lines. It was not pretty for them. Titans are playing here. Titans are going to be in this game. The difference is, I think Russell Wilson and Seattle are also another team that are out to prove something. I got Seattle in this 35-32. And I think Derrick Henry is going to get back on track in this game. And because of that, I think Ryan Tannehill is going to get back on track. Again, this is no slouch. I'm not saying Ryan Tannehill is a bad quarterback. Ryan Tannehill is a good quarterback who's not great. That's fine. He can be great when he has the best running back in the league and Derrick Henry behind him. We saw what happened last week when he didn't. So if you're Ryan Tannehill, and if you're I almost called him Frank Vogel. What's his name? Oh my God, I forgot his name. The head coach of the Titans. Yeah, it's a Sunday. I got like 4 hours of sleep. I'm tired. But yeah, no. If you're a Titans fan, you're gonna be concerned if you see another shitty performance by Derrick Henry in that offensive line. That offensive line, by the way, was really bad last week. Taylor Lewan, all those guys. I don't know what was going on with y'all. You guys need to get back on track. Beat this team in the trenches, but they're not able to. My score is going to stand 35-32 Seattle. Guys, if you haven't already, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. Moving on, let's talk about America's game of the week as Joe Buck and what's his name? Troy Aikman, like to say America's game of the week, because you can't have America's game of the week without talking about them Cowboys, right? So the Dallas Cowboys are going to be taking on the Los Angeles Chargers, formerly of San Diego. Should be still in San Diego, but that's a story for another day. Dallas, of course, coming off that Week 1 loss and that nail-biting loss to Tampa Bay, where they left 54 seconds on the clock to Tom Brady, and it still was way too much time. And he came down and scored on them. They're looking to get their first win. Los Angeles Chargers, they're opening up this is their opening day game at SoFi Stadium. We'll see how many actual Chargers fans there are now. I think it's in Los Angeles now, but I have Los Angeles winning this game 31-24. I just don't think Dallas is going to be running the ball. They proved last week. They paid Zeke all that money. just so Dak Prescott can throw the ball 60 times a game. And that's been their game plan. That's why Dak was on pace for what was it, 6,000 yards last year before he got injured. That's why he's probably going to be on pace for the same, because they're going to throw the ball. They're going to throw the shit out of the ball, but it's not going to go anywhere. I think Kellen Moore, loved him in Boise State. The best, for my money, the best college football quarterback ever. Fight me on that one. As an offensive coordinator, though, you got to run the damn ball. Run the damn ball with Zeke. You got Powell back there. Do something. Run it. It was watching that game. I was screaming at my TV. I was screaming at my TV while I was doing that live stream with HMO Podcast. You guys can go check that out. My reactions are hilarious in that. So I was doing a live stream with HMO Podcast. I was screaming at Kellen Moore. I was saying his name to the heavens. Please run the ball. And it's not even because I'm a Cowboys fan. I don't even like the Cowboys. I'm just like, dude, like, just run the ball. Like they ran it, what was it, like 10 times the entire game? It was just pitiful. And you throw it 60 times? I get we're a passing league, but come on. At least have the threat of the run there, especially when you're paying your running back. Like, what was this? Like $16 million a year? Come on now. Dallas should be better than they are, but they're not going to play up to that ability. That has been the story of the Cowboys basically since the 1990s. That's this team. That is this team. That's who they are. They are going to be exactly who we thought they are, exactly who we think they are, and they're gonna mess it up. I think the Cowboys are just to quote Adam Page from AEW Dynamite, to quote Adam Page from All Elite Wrestling, some cowboy shit right there. That is some cowboy shit. It's what the Cowboys do. It's what they've always done. Just play unremarkable football comparatively to what their talent level is. That's what they've always done, and it's what they will continue to do tonight as they take on Justin Herbert down there in Los Angeles. So, see what happens there. And finally, we're at it. Sunday Night Football live on NBC. The Baltimore Ravens will play host to the Kansas City Chiefs. It is Patrick Mahomes versus Lamar Jackson, Part 4. Remember, Lamar's rookie year in 2018, after Lamar took over, I think it was his third or fourth game in, comes in, goes into Arrowhead, does a great job against this team. They go into overtime, and Patrick Mahomes did one of the wildest passes I've ever seen in my life. No look on 4th and 20 or something. No look pass, like 40 yards in the air down to Tyreek Hill in triple coverage. Made absolutely no sense, but it was complete. Won them the game. A Harrison Buckner field goal. Next year, the Ravens come out and they get pretty much dominated by the Chiefs the next year. We go back to last year. They're playing home again. They're playing home this time. The Baltimore Ravens are playing in Baltimore. And no fans, no energy, no Ravens win. Chiefs won that one too. That has been one of the biggest crutches for this Baltimore Ravens team under this era of Baltimore Ravens football under Lamar Jackson. They have not been able to defeat the beast in Patrick Mahomes. They have not been able to slay the beast, rather, in Patrick Mahomes. And this is like the next monkey that they need to get off their back. If you're the Baltimore Ravens, if you're a Baltimore Ravens fan like I am, this is the next evolution in this team, being able to not only go toe-to-toe, not only match up, score for score with this team, but beat them. We took a step forward last year when we won a playoff game. You got to take another step forward. If you want to prove you're contenders, after losing to the Raiders in the way we did last week, you got to beat this team. You have to beat this team. And if you don't, the Baltimore Ravens, I'm sorry. I love the Ravens. I love the Ravens. If we don't win this game, it is going to be very difficult for us, not only to win our division, but I think even compete for a Super Bowl. Flip that. It's not going to be only hard for us to be contenders. It's going to be hard for us to compete in our division. Because we're going to be starting 0-2. I know we get off to slow starts and we get really hot as the season goes along. We're one of those teams who does that. That's fine. I understand that. But we have to be able to beat the Chiefs. You have to we have to prove that we can beat this team, because otherwise they're going to be in our heads. Going into a game, if we have to face this team in the playoffs, going into this game 0-4 against this team with no momentum, it's gonna be it. They won the mental game of chess. This is a good chance for the Ravens to catch this team. They had a nail biter. The Chiefs had some flaws last week. They allowed Cleveland to hang in there and dominate early on. The thing is, for Baltimore, if you're the Ravens and you want to win this game, one thing you have to do is run the ball with Tyson Williams. Tyson Williams proved last week that he could be the guy. Yet he got one carry in the second half? One carry for Tyson Williams in the second half. That defense played as good as they could be. But I think one too many times we put the ball in Lamar Jackson's hands, knowing that offensive line was not going to be up to the task. Knowing that that offensive line was playing like trash the entire game. Instead of running the ball with Tyson Williams, who was having a very good game, what did the Ravens do? Oh, just put it in Lamar's hands. And I was against saying this before, but I'm kind of seeing it. There is and I hate to say it, we need to stop relying on Lamar Jackson to bail us out every single time. Use him to his ability. Yes, use him to the best of his ability. That's not what I'm saying. I think you should still be out there running, obviously. But I'm saying, if you're going to run the ball, at least make it a threat that someone other than Lamar is going to run the ball, because that's what made it successful in 2019. That's what made it successful down the stretch last year, and it did not make it successful in week 1 because we didn't do it. So counteract that. Run the ball with Tyson Williams. Run the ball with Latavius Murray. Run the ball with Devontae Freeman. And do it consistently. Make them guess. That's when the defenses are at their worst against Lamar Jackson, when they don't know who's going to get the ball. Because here's the thing. You can have Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson can burn you for a 40-yard run, even if there's no hole there. He'll make a hole. He'll find a crease. But when you have to defend that, plus someone like Tyson Williams for breaking out a run and churning out these runs that extend drives and whatnot, that's going to be something for them to think about. Make them think about it. And I think this is a good chance for Ravens. Put the ball in the running back's hands sometimes. Extend drives. Keep the ball out, keep Patrick Mahomes off the field. Keep him off the field. Keep that defense ready to go and ready to match up, because they're going to need it. I really like the way they played last week. Anthony Everett had a really good game. Stevens didn't play. That other kid, I forgot his name. West Street, I think was his name. He had a very good game. He's not playing today. The other big thing for the Ravens, Ronnie Stanley, Pro Bowl left tackle, all-pro left tackle, not playing today. Not playing. Tyree Phillips already dealing with an injury. Villanueva, I don't even know if he can play the tackle position anymore. He's a scab. That offensive line for the Ravens is not looking good. You got to help them out as well by running the ball with your running backs. Tyson Williams can run. He proved it last week. If the Ravens want to have a chance, and that is a big if. That is a big if. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's unlikely the Ravens win this game. It is very unlikely the Ravens win this game. That being said, I'm gonna go with my team. I'm gonna ride with the Ravens. I'm gonna roll with the Baltimore Ravens here. 29-27. And the key is run the ball, play action with Lamar, and we'll be fine. We will be fine, but we have to run the ball more than we did last week. It helps out our offensive line. It helps out our defense. It helps it literally helps every stage of the game. Why wouldn't we do it? Please do it, Baltimore. But that's just what I think. Let me know what you guys think in the chat. Ask any questions. Let me know your comments. Who do you guys think is going to win in this week's slate of games? What game are you guys most excited for today? Because there's a lot of fun games today. There's a lot of fun games this week. But we'll see what happens with those. Let me see if there's any news. So we got some officially actives and inactives today. So inactives, we got Marshawn Lattimore for the Saints. That's going to be a big loss for them today. Jamison Crowder is going to be out, I believe, for the Jets. He's still with the Jets, right? Probably. I don't know. Some actives. You got. Ooh, these are interesting. Jonnu Smith is going to be active against the. I just had a brain fart. Against Jonnu Smith is going to be active for the Patriots. Eric Fisher is going to be active for the Colts. That's some big pickups there for them. Let me see what Ian Rappaport has. If there's any news here, because Sunday they like to break some news on Sunday. All right, here we go. Yeah, no, not much news. So unless you guys have any questions, I think this has been pretty good episode, pretty good preview show, if I may say so myself. Be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, guys, and hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. And enjoy football. Enjoy it. Baltimore, dub tonight. Praying to God.